So this weekend we just had the Super Bowl. That means big movie trailers for everybody. I've selected 7 that I liked, ranked them in order. We need to talk about this. Welcome back to Rich Reviews. So the first on this list, number 7, is Imaginary. This is the first of an Imaginary Friend style movie, and it gives quite an interesting trailer. This one is from Blumhouse Productions. They're, of course, famous for their horror films, such as Five Nights at Freddy and Megan with the weird little dancing lady doll. This is great for those kind of mid-teen people that want to go to the cinema maybe for the first time to experience some kind of horror film. Great kind of fun in that sense, and it's one that I might perhaps check out on streaming, maybe when there's not too much on the TV, but it looks like they've got this girl with this imaginary teddy bear who's possibly got more imaginary friends, but it's not what it's cracked up to be, and rather than being some cute kind of imaginary friend film, this takes a bit of a different turn, and we get some kind of bear come monster story. We'll see what this is like when it's released. In the number 6, we get Wicked. This is a Wizard of Oz style or Oz type prequel based on the stage musical. It's not really the sort of thing that I would go for. I'm not into the kind of the musical pantomime style films. And this one's got that bit of a kind of a hyper colour to it, that look of a kind of a summer blockbuster, but mixed with a TV movie style look. So it's really stylized, a bit like kind of Alice in Wonderland or those kind of things. Kind of gives me a feeling of Wonka or those sort of films maybe, and there is a big audience for that sort of thing, but it's not necessarily for me. I do like Wizard of Oz, I do like the Oz Great and Powerful film, I thought that was great. I'm not sure about this one, not so sure about Ariana Grande being in it as well. I'm curious though, so it's got me interested, it teases, it does what it's supposed to do. At number 5, we get Twisters. This was a great film, the original Twister back in the day, 1996. It was more my era. I was at the right age at this time when this film came out. And this was a use of CGI that wasn't as obvious because it wasn't aliens or melting effects, something like that you saw in Terminator. So it looked absolutely fantastic. It was a great film back then. It was really big as well, really popular. I think it was like the second highest grossing in that year. So a big film back then. This is not really a sequel. It's not a reboot. It's kind of set in the same context, the same universe. It's just a kind of just another story, another tale within that kind of era of things. So Twisters stars Glenn Powell, who was Hangman in Top Gun. He played the kind of the Iceman style character. And I'm looking forward to this one. It does look really similar to the old film as well, though. So, again, I'm not quite sure what to expect. This might be one I might decide to catch a review for before I go and see it. I don't know. But I'm interested. It teased. Again, it did its job. In at number 4, we get Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. This does look good, and it's something that I am interested in seeing. It's a good trailer, this one. We'd already had a teaser for this. This one seems to open up that story a bit more, starts to tell us about what the main characters are for, and it seems to look like this is really switching the kind of the roles. So whereas the original trilogy was focused more on the humans and how that kind of evolved to the apes, this one is now starting to look definitely that it's more about told from the apes' perspective and how the humans are the kind of the more, let's say, inferior species in this. It's definitely several generations later. It still doesn't give too much away, so I think there's going to be some still surprises in this. We don't know certain things as yet, but it looks good. It's definitely got new characters in this in terms of the apes themselves. Whether they can kind of hold a mantle to Caesar and the portrayal that Andy Serkis gave, I don't know. I mean, he was great, not just Andy, but the ape itself, the CGI, the way it was acted, he came across really well. Caesar was a great character. I'll be curious to see how this one goes. But I am a good fan of these stories. I think they're great. So looking forward to this one. At number 3, we get The Fall Guy. This is one I am looking forward to. I think this looks great fun. This is Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. And it's based as a bit of a kind of a remake, a reboot, a new telling of the cult 80s classic, The Fall Guy Show, which starred Lee Majors. It was awesome back in the day, and this looks like a real bag of laughs. This trailer even jokes that it's got everything in there, and it goes from unicorns to shirtless scenes to butt smacking, everything. It's just packed full of fun. It looks good, and I think this is kind of Ryan Gosling's Ken, but done in a bit of an action way as well. It just seems to work, everything in this trailer and the previous main trailer that was released as well. The jokes seem to land. It looks like it's going to be a great time. I'm looking forward to this. Let's see what it's like when it comes out. In at number 2, we have A Quiet Place Day One. I loved the first two Quiet Place films. The first one in particular, I thought it was a really interesting idea for a horror film. Loads of tension, loads of horror in that, without necessarily being ghosty scary or gory scary. It wasn't that kind of thing. Just that creeping tension of having to be silent makes life really difficult, as you'd expect, but it's explored in a really good way in this film. They were quite small films. The second one was a bit bigger. This one looks bigger again. Is that a good thing? I don't know, but it's certainly a missing piece of the kind of the story, and that where did these aliens come from? We got flashbacks of this in the second one, but this one really starts to show everything and how the panic kind of kicks off from normal society. And it does star a totally different cast. John Krasinski was heavily involved in making this, but he's not directing or starring this time. I think you'd have to have seen the other two films. You could probably watch this one, I would imagine, but it'll just come across as some standalone kind of generic aliens invade the Earth kind of film. It'll mean so much more if you've seen the other Quiet Place films. But A Quiet Place Day One, high on my list. Really looking forward to this one. And in my number 1 spot, we have my most anticipated film this year, which is Deadpool 3, or Deadpool and Wolverine as this is called. Stars Ryan Reynolds, and it's now Deadpool's introduction into the official Marvel Cinematic Universe. Whereas before it was kind of just the standalone guy where he dipped toes into other franchises. This time he's fully integrating him. And the trailer shows that he even says that he's going to shake up this cinematic universe completely, and that he's Marvel Jesus. So I don't know. I mean, what do you say? The TVA showed up in this. I didn't know that. Now, I know that was leaked online, but I've only known since then. I have tried my best to get away from spoilers and leaks that have been out there. So that was a nice surprise for me, them showing up from the Loki TV series. But the trailer itself, it was good. It teased. It did what it needs to do. It doesn't give too much away, and I like that. I'm fed up of trailers showing you everything in films lately. You don't know from this. The downside, I suppose, is everybody knew that Wolverine was going to be in this. Everybody knows about Hugh Jackman coming back, and there's been set leaks and photos everywhere online that you can't avoid for the last 8 months. So to tease just a little fraction of Wolverine right at the end of this trailer, it's not their fault. It does what it's supposed to do, but everybody knew he was in it. So it kind of doesn't really offer that payoff. It doesn't give you what you were hoping for. We saw less in this than all the leaks that are online, which are really clear as well. There's loads of them out there. But it is going to shake things up. We get scenes where we can see the 20th Century Fox logo in the background. We get the scene at the end when he's laid on the kind of the white, crusty looking floor, and there's a Secret Wars comic to the left. And on top of that, there's a bottle, and it's the same bottle which looks like some kind of energy drink that Stan Lee drank in his cameo in Hulk that looked like it possibly killed him off because it had Banner's blood in there. But there's lots of things in this. I hope this does shake things up. I hope it kind of creates some kind of reboot in some way without messing things up too much as well. Really interested to see what happens. But hopefully it'll be great. It's the only MCU film this year. But a good trailer, nice tease, gets us back in the mood for Deadpool. And it's Ryan Reynolds, as we know. You either love him or hate him, but I do like him as Deadpool. But there you go. They're the trailers. That's what I thought. Number 1 is Deadpool for me. But until next time, keep smiling, peeps.